This microphone has Peyronie's. I don't know if you noticed that. Hi, everyone. Let's see, where's my clicker? Okay. So I am the founder of Ergonomics.com, which is a sexual ergonomics website. The only thing I'm going to be talking about today, I don't know why this is moving around so much, is a process for ergonomics. I won't be mentioning specific products. So I want to just define sexual ergonomics, describe an assessment process for ergonomics, describe the adjustment process for common physical limitations of Peyronie's, and also share some resources for sexuality counseling. Excuse me. All right, so what is ergonomics? You may hear about this in terms of how to use a desk or how to change your keyboard. But ergonomics is a systematic approach to, and when it comes to sexual ergonomics, a systematic approach to comfortable pleasure, which fits the erotic activity and environment to the needs of the individual or individuals involved. The goal is comfortable, sustainable, and pleasurable activity. And the keys here are to recognize, while I'm not a physician, I'm not making changes to my clients' bodies, but I am going to help them recognize the pleasurable options they have with the bodies they have today, and then how to manage adjustments as their bodies adjust as well with the work that you're doing. All right, so we're thinking of adjusting the environment. So with ergonomics, we're adjusting an environment. We may be adjusting the method of the approach, as well as the specific activity people will practice. And that's the process that we're doing. So for instance, we'll be looking at adjusting the environment. Here, this couple has cushions to support them, which may change their positioning. It may allow for better pelvic alignment and position for more sustainable comfort. And we're looking at an oral sex position here. So we're also going to be talking to our clients about how to get in and out of the positions as well so that they don't have injury. All right, so the goals of an assessment in ergonomics, and I do not see the timer, sorry, maybe it's my height. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna move off to the side too, like Dr. Rubin did. All right, so the goals are, we really wanna find out the goals of all parties involved, their sexual goals and their quality of life goals, and we start with figuring out what is working. And I think that's one of the most important things because people are usually so focused on what's not working that they don't think about what they can do and where they're competent. So we start with that before understanding all the limitations, and then we build on people's competence. And I'll certainly work with the physicians to understand their medical restrictions as well, so that any recommendations I make are not going to work against what's happening in the medical setting. Certainly there are common limitations with Peyronie's would be pain, erectile difficulty, deformity, decreased length, and instability of the penis. And so we'll be thinking of adjusting the environment with things like positional aids that may help with pelvic alignment. Again, it could be swings, it could be cushions. We may be, again, talking about position and movement strategy changes. So this may be having the partner control the movement differently than they did before, or have a different method or a different motion. We may be supporting or enhancing the sensation. In this case, this could be a lengthener, a penis lengthener, which may improve partner sensation. And certainly we had this great talk by Dr. Althoff talking about what the psychological impact is of changes in length and changes in function. We may also be enhancing sensation by simple things like lubricants. And that may make a big difference in terms of comfort and pleasure. All right, we may have pleasure aids and props. So on the left, I'm showing, this is actually a finger vibrator. So we can turn the fingers into pleasure devices rather than thinking of just the penises or, as being the pleasure device. And certainly, as we heard in talks earlier, an erection is not necessarily going to be sufficient for, if it's a heterosexual couple, the female partner involved may not have an orgasm or be satisfied just from an erect penis anyhow. So we want to think about what pleasure aids can help with the partners, no matter what body they have. And we may also think of, again, props that make for a more exciting environment. Okay, trying to move forward. There we go. We also may think of external prosthesis. So we're showing a harness that allows for a vibrating or non-vibrating dildo or insertable dildo, and it also makes room for a penis. So there's room for someone to, if their penis is not going to be sufficient for penetration, and penetration is important, and it's too painful for a partner, for instance, then they can still have stimulation and stimulate their partners with penetration at the same time. So we want to be thinking about how we can use prostheses. The harness on the left is a thigh harness, which can be helpful and give someone, again, freedom of movement of the pelvis. And if someone has difficulty moving the pelvis, a thigh harness can be helpful. The one on the right is one that can be inserted in the anus. So it doesn't have a harness itself. It's actually an insertable harness, if you will. And that can allow for penetration of a partner if penetration is still important and there's a curvature or difficulty with penetration. We also want to think about variety of activities. So we want to think about either adjusting the activity. So we could be thinking about genital massage or all over erotic massage that may be pleasurable rather than focusing just on genitals. And we also may think about mental stimulation, such as erotic materials, and also there are techniques for sex such as erotic hypnosis, which doesn't focus on the body touch as much as the mental experience of the partner. So finally, the support needed are, in my work, we're going to be introducing creativity and modeling creativity for partners. We want to support an experimental mindset, and also we want to have a progressive plan for people so they understand how to make their modifications for themselves as their bodies change. And finally, I just want to say, and Stan was talking about being able to find psychologists now in many states. Sex counselors use an educational model, so they can also work across any international as well as state lines. Thank you.